This is Cal Katz the Cal Catster, and this is a review of a movie that looks like a fetishist movie, but it kind of isn't. Well, it kind of is. It's called Professor Marston and the Wonder Women. It is a Sony and a bunch of other companies did it. It's not Marvel and it's not DC, but it references the early version of DC before it was merged. The Wonder Woman character. It's the story of the psychology professor Marston and his lover and his wife. It is not at all like Finding Neverland, although in some ways it is. That was the one with Peter Pan, his creator, and I guess there's another one with Christopher Robin coming out. But yeah, this is yeah. So this is strange movie. It just came out yesterday, and already it's playing in the small theater, and there was an audience of a dozen on a busy Saturday. I went to see it because Stone Gremlins was seeing everything else. They'd seen Foreigner, they'd seen Happy Death Day, and they'd seen the other ones, and I wanted to see something they hadn't seen this weekend, so that there would not be any confusion. So I went to see this other one. But this other one got like 87% on Rotten Tomatoes and was liked by all the critics. It's a talking movie, so I can see why they would. It's okay. The audience that of a dozen people seemed to enjoy it. Oscar worthy, I don't really think so. If they give it just because it has talking in it and an affair in it, okay, yeah, it really doesn't deserve it. But yeah, it's a drama about censorship and about early feminism in the 20s, which did exist, the Roaring 20s and 30s and 40s. So there was the beginning of that. He plays a psychology professor who invents DISC, which is something about discipline and tolerance, submission and compliance, I think. Something like that. That I word I'm missing. But I don't know anything about BDSM, so I can't say. It is funny that one of the actresses was in 50 Shades of Grey 2, which this movie is actually kinkier than 50 Shades of Grey 1 and 2. Actually, there are kinky scenes in it, but they're more erotic than that cheesy movie series. But yeah, they were probably wondering why one of the only guys in the theater. What was he doing in there? No, I wasn't doing anything in there. I was sitting next to two very butch, feminist-looking characters. Well, I don't know if they were butch, but they were feminist-looking characters. So yeah, I wasn't gonna misbehave. I don't know if they were butch, but they were pretty big, so I didn't mess with them. So yeah, it's yeah, it's an odd story. The professor guy and his wife invented the lie detector, and then put it out. Also, but he didn't patent it, I guess, so that other people copied the idea, the lie detector. Yeah, it's a machine police used to trick people into confessing because everyone's nervous in the police station, and might confess to something they didn't do because it's not admissible in court. But what the lie detector fails to register is sociopaths. There are some people out there that are so crazy that the heart rate that it registers would not go off because they would be okay. A pathological liar would also not set it off because they're good at it. It wouldn't register. Their voice wouldn't change any. They would be monotone and wouldn't do anything. But also the story is about their love affair and stuff, which in the 20s and 30s would have been shocking, and them drinking and stuff, and it juxtaposes to the 40s present, in which the censor board shows up to censor the Wonder Woman comic book that it created because of all the BDSM and racial undertones and stuff like that in it. and feminist undertones and all that. They want to censor that in the story. It's based on a book that was written earlier, and it was directed by a woman director who directed Herbie Fully Loaded, but directed something other better things since then. Yeah, so it has the guy that has the dude from one of those Fast and the Furious movies, and it has one from the other ladies from some romantic comedy. Anyway, they all looked familiar though, so and they'd been in something that I'd seen or at least heard about. They have an affair, then the girl breaks up with her fiance. Spoilers, I guess. And then they go and they have kids together, and they have a family in another town, and the three of them have children through him. They have the comic book thing is formed a little later in the story, and when he goes to form the comic book, they make it look like he entirely thought of the Wonder Woman thing in the story, but actually it was the wife that came up with a lot of the ideas, and one of the wives and the mistress. He just came up with the general idea. There's also I was trying to see if the IMDb, somebody reviewed it. I was trying to see if the IMDb was right about the character called the G-String King that's in it, who was a Massachusetts-born BDSM kink guy. I couldn't find much on that guy, but what I did find corroborates the comment on there that his name was Goyette, I guess, or Goyer. He was French but born in like America, so he was playing up the accent in the movie, and the person was kind of confused as to whether he was playing it up. He was, the dirty Frenchman stereotype that goes around. Those French, that's shocking. He's I don't know anything about him other than he was one of the first erotic postcard and picture guys from the 40s. Apparently, he was famous for that. And I guess the bondage scene, which honestly, it's not something. Nope. Yeah, the idea of tying somebody up, it's kind of messed up. Whatever. But with 50 Shades of Grey is not realistic because you would never have a contract. That's stupid. But yeah, that whole movie idea. But in this case, they just freely go there and hang out. Submission places. Yeah, there's some kinky stuff in there. It's definitely rated R. But the sex scene, there's one, is done very tastefully. So you don't see like grinding hips or anything. It's mostly like clothes flailing and a boob here or a man breast there or whatever. And then they're like, and arms are twizzling together. Or yeah, it's erotic. It's done erotically instead of pornographically. So it's not really. In fact, if they cut out the 9 or 10 times that the lady says the F word, drops the F bomb, this would be a PG-13 movie. Because really, there's nothing overt about it. They're talking about sex and simulating the bondage and simulating this other stuff and showing lots of images from the comic book as well before they changed it. And yeah, they did change the comic book and they did censor everything eventually. And it wasn't until the 70s that they put it all back, thanks to Gloria Steinem, oddly enough. Well, it kind of makes sense, actually. Not oddly enough. But actually, there was a 60s TV show, and that gave her powers, that Linda Carter series. But yeah, so actually, it was before that. She was given her, maybe not in the comic books, but she had her powers in the 70s and 80s. But maybe that's about right then. Anyway, so yeah, Wonder Woman. It's funny that they've put out this movie because it's like Wonder Woman, but it's not. It's like the creator of Wonder Woman. So if you're going to it to see the awesomeness of the feminist character, you're not going to see it. You just see sort of the kind of odd professor fellow that thought of it. Also, Also, it bears some similarities to the Dying Animal story or Elegy in that it's a professor guy who abuses his power and basically falls in love, and then someone dies near the end, or is going to die near the end. Um, and although that's plot of many Oscar movies from the 80s, so I guess that's fine. Everybody's copying everyone else. But yes, uh, it's curious that DISC is what they're calling Star Trek Discovery instead of calling it Star Trek STD, because that would be the discipline. uh, it's also a psychological. DISC is a psychological, series thing in psych. Um, and it appears from the story, the way they portrayed it in the movie, that really the intern who becomes their lover really wouldn't have been their lover if he hadn't abused his power, or they haven't both abused their power and convinced her that she was with them, like in the little 3-man cult, 2 women and 1-man cult. Uh, they hadn't done that, and also if they lived in somewhere like Provo, Utah, having 2 wives is totally acceptable in some parts of Utah, in other parts of the world. I was thinking that the whole time during the movie. Well, they don't live in Utah. The polygamy community. But maybe that's later. I don't know. But no. Not advocating polygamy. Just saying that's a joke. Um, Also, yeah, there was the oddity of that character. I was going back to that character that I'm not going to name his name because people will look it up. I don't want them to. G-string gang. But that's his nickname. That's his nickname, and the guy that was French and Goyette. I think I did mention his name. Okay. According to the book, he wasn't actually there. The book version. So there's an error that they put in the movie to hit it home that they happen to be the guy that started the erotic, like fetish thing in that part of New York, but no, that they probably didn't. That they fictionalized that for the movie. That's not really what happened. It's probably that guy's underboss or that guy's under him. Maybe they saw him once. I don't know, but they made it sound like in the movie that they met the guy that did the thing, because they sort of did like they did in Dunkirk, in that they composited a bunch of people together to make him a one guy. Dunkirk had nothing to do with it, but I'm saying that was like the way that they brought this one guy and made him the main go-to. Sort of like when they showed the 2 creators of early pre-DC comics and just kind of stuck them in the same room, even though at that point they wouldn't have been. But that's okay. Just to say, okay, well, this is a creative license, because then we'd have to explain all the backstory of everybody. Let's just have this one dude show up. Also, a lot of the pictures they showed at the end of what they actually looked like, they looked nothing like the actors playing them in the movie. Yes, they looked nothing like the actors playing them in the movie. The professor guy actually looked kind of paunchy and receding hairline, sort of, and he had hair, but it was sort of like funny. And the 2 women, the wife was actually had a little more girth to her, and she was not slim, but not fat, just girthy, sort of blocky. The intern was a little more slim, but none of them were cute. All 3 of them were like very 20s looking, normal looking people, and that becomes a plot device in the movie that they're cute, they're hot looking or something, but they weren't. They weren't at all, because it was the 20s and nobody looked hot then. but yeah, no, it was just that they decided in the movie that it should be that way. But yeah, that's Hollywood. It's not going to get any Oscars. I seriously doubt it. If it did, it would be like, this movie, like, August Rush or something. No one's ever seen that, or Osage County or something. Or I get those two movies mixed up. August Rush has nothing to do with Osage County. It just started with the word August. Yeah. I didn't see either of those, but or did I see August Rush? I'm not sure. Anyway, having nothing to do with Julian Assange, which was very confusing, using that title. It's probably why people went to see that movie, though. They're probably all like, "Oh, Julian Assange, the spy." No, that's not what it's about. But yeah, if they do throw it in the Oscar picks just because they're not they don't have anything else, then they will. But okay, yeah, but it's tanking. It's made 2 million. So anyway, it just came out. It's not, yeah. So okay, previews included some rather banal movies, but also Downsizing, which was a movie about people being shrunk to micronian size. It has Brad Pitt in it, I think, or something. Honey, I Shrunk the Adult. Okay. Kind of did this already in the 80s. Not interesting if it's just like people being shrunk to dollhouse size. Also, you would think that like local cats and dogs would go after them, eat them. But yes, and they played that "Water Flowing Underground Days Go By" song from the 80s in the trailer. So I have not seen The Foreigner. I have not seen Happy Death Day. And last week was Blade Runner, then My Little Pony. Mark's Cards has seen My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, the movie, and he confirms that, in fact, that not only was the other pony could have been of the same group as the G1s, but isn't necessarily one of the G1s. He's a bro me. He said it wasn't a G1 officially one, but she could have been there in G1 somewhere as the same species. Also, the cat. He said the cat is probably the same species as the evil princess lady, queen cat lady from the pony special from the G1. And also some of the other ones could be from G, the parrots, and the other one could be from G2. It was a G2. Apparently Friendship and Magic is G3. Who knew? Oh, my. Okay, Generation 3. Technically wouldn't be. It's only been 30 years, but that's okay. But yeah, sure. Yeah, so I saw this movie that some of the women were chortling about, I guess because they thought it was funny. And a little bit because why was I in there? The only guy in there. But it's like, I clearly wasn't getting off on it because it was not arousing. It was just more erotic. It was not. Totally wasn't. So yeah, the origins of that might piss off some of the Wonder Woman people, and also censorship is bad. Yeah, should be allowed to not censor it. Considering the other stuff, like what's funny about that censor board scene is that I've seen some of those 40s era superhero comics from that same time period, like Superman and Batman and stuff. And Superman was kind of a dick. He was like, mean to Lois and stuff. So I was like, yeah, some of those early comics, they're all being kind of jerks in there. Even in the serials, in the Batman serials, like the Flash Gordon serials, they're all like being misogynistic and messed up and stuff. So actually, Wonder Woman was ahead of its time because she was able to be like feministic and beat the crap out of the bad guys. So that was actually better. But yeah, and it was clearly World War II, not World War I, like in the modern movie. It's supposed to be World War II. The Wonder Women, Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman. Oops. Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it. Go and see it if you want to. It's all right, I guess. Just not my thing. Well, the name doesn't like that. Yeah. And they were so manipulative to each other that it was like, well, wow, that's kind of messed up. in the movie. And they probably were like that in the book. I don't know. But I didn't read the book, so I don't know. Mark's Cars is excited about Ready Player One, which is going to be coming out soon. I haven't read it, though. And there's another Maze Runner movie they finally finished. So there's the third one coming out. Or I guess it's coming out a little bit in next year. Next year's not that far off, so... Yeah, they waited a couple years because somebody got injured on the set, so they had to, like, reshoot stuff. But yeah, it's sort of like when they were doing the last one of the other series with Divergent, Insurgent. They got to the last one and they're like, it's tanking so bad, let's put it on TV. I guess kind of messed up. Let's just put it out. Yeah. And I'm still not gonna watch Discovery because it's on All Access. Even though the Star Trek people are like, you know what's I'm not. I mean, yeah. I've already seen some spoilers though. I already know some stuff that happens, and not too impressed. The Orville is fun though. So the Wonder Woman.